So this is 8.2, and we're going to call this 8.2C. And this is important enough stuff that I think we need to spend some time going over some of the problem set. So, sorry, I am outside. The wind is howling, so if you hear a lot of background noise, that's what it is. All right, so let's do one like 41. Cubed root of 27x cubed over 8y cubed. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if we have two numbers multiplied together that, well, actually multiplied together 3 times, that give us 27. So we're looking for a number when multiplied by itself 3 times is going to give us 27. In this case, it's 3. So 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, or 3 cubed is 27. We're going to do the same thing with the 8, and it's 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2, and then everything else stays the same. All right, so what that does, and I don't remember if I showed you that. It's been a couple days since I've done the earlier lectures for 8.2. I'm not sure if I showed you that trick to do, but the hardest part, I think I said this before, the hardest part is simplifying the numbers with these. Usually it's the letters, but in this section with radicals, it's numbers. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my top and bottom up, and I'm going to put the cubed root of 3 cubed x cubed over cubed root of 2 cubed y cubed. All right. And then remember what I did in the past. I would say, how many times does 3 go into this exponent? It goes into it 1 time. So I bring 1 3 out. Do I have any remainder? Is there anything left over when 3 goes into 3? There is no remainder. So nothing, there's no 3's or nothing inside. All the 3's disappeared and came outside. Then 3 goes into this 3 how many times? 1 time. With anything left over? No, nothing left over. So there's nothing inside of here. So that just goes away. All right. Then we look at this one. How many times does 3 go into that? Goes into it 1 time. So I pull 1, 2 out because 3 goes into 3 1 time. So 1, 2. And then how many times does 3 go into there? 1 time. So it comes out. And there's nothing left under this radical either because there was no remainder left, so that leaves as well. And that ends up being your answer for number 41. Well, let's look back at number 40. I know how hard these can be, and I don't want to just dump you into these lessons without really giving you some help here. Okay, and this is under a radical sign, and it's a square root. So we're going to split them up over. Okay, so let's look at what we've got here. Do you know what the square root of 64 is? Yes, it's 8. So that comes out automatically. And remember, you've got an index there. 2 goes into 2 how many times? Once, so we have 1a. 2 goes into this how many times? Once, so we have a b. Over square root of 16 is 4. What is 8 over 4? 2. And then the AB just tags along there. So let us look at number 52. We have 243 a squared over 49. And that is all under a radical sign. And then again, we're going to simplify it by doing this. Okay, so what do I know about 243? Well, if I break it down, it ends up being 3 to the 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81, times 3 is 243. So 5 times a squared over square root of 49. So put that under a radical sign. Okay, so there's 2's there. So how many times does 2 go into 5? Twice with 1 left over, right? How many times does 2 go into 2? Once, with none left over. Square root of 49 is 7. What's 3 times 3? 9. So we're just kind of simplifying that right there. Okay? I do not have an answer key with me, so I'm just hoping I'm getting the right answers on all of these, because even though I've done these forever, I still make mistakes. All right, let's jump down to 61. All right, let's see what we've got here. 72. Let's see. I can't think of any number squared give me 72, but remember what we do is we find two numbers multiplied together. If we can't take the square root of 72, or if we can't write it as like 3 to the third power or something like that, we have to simplify it. So we're looking for numbers multiplied together that give me 72. So 6 and 12 do, but I can't take the square root of either one of those. 36 times 2 gives me 72, and I can take the square root of 36, so I'm going to use that one. Okay, so I just rewrote it like that. Alright, and that is over square root of 36. Okay, so do I know the square root of 36? Yes. So I take the square root of 36, which is 6, and I pull it out, and I'm left with 2a squared b squared over square root of 36 is 6. Okay, now one of the things I can do, and it doesn't really matter what order you do this in, but I'm going to do it now just because it's easier. I've got a 6 over 6. So because there's a multiplication sign here, they're not locked together. If this was a plus or a minus sign for 5 plus 6 or 5 minus 6, I couldn't do this. But when it's a times sign, I can cancel the top and bottom. So now I'm just left with 5 square root of 2a squared b squared. Now 2 cannot be simplified. That's as simple as I can get. And I don't know what that symbol is that I just put there. So 5 square root of 2. Now there's a 2 there, right? How many times does 2 go into this 2? Once. How many times does 2 go into that 2? Once. And the 2 can't be simplified, so I am done there. So let's look down at 63 to 78. Let's see, which one do we want to do? Let's try 73. No particular reason. I just grabbed it because it's in the middle there. Over 5. Alright, so first of all I'm going to simplify this. So again, looking for two numbers multiplied together give me 75, but I can take the square root of one of those. So I mean, gosh, 15 times 5 is 75, but I can't take the square root of either one of those. But the square root of 25, times 3 gives me 75. And because I know the square root of 25 is 5, I can take that 5 out, and my 3 is kind of stuck in there because I can't take anything there. Then I can look here and say, can I simplify this more? Yes, I could take a 5 out of there, and I'm left with the 2 plus 1 square root of 3, because 5 times 1 would give me this 5 back. Okay, over 5. And the only reason I do that is because then I can cancel those. And I'm left with 2 plus the square root of 3. Alright, so let's do one more from this section, 63 to 78. Let's do 77, just because it has a bunch of negative signs. Okay, so again, simplify this. Do I know two numbers multiplied together give me 8, where I can take the square root of one of those numbers? Well, yeah. There's really not a whole lot of options here, are there? And I can take the square root of 4. So I get negative 4 minus, what is the square root of 4? 2. So it comes out. And the other 2 stays in because there isn't a square root of 2. So now I look up here. Can I factor anything out? Yep, I can factor out a 2. And I'm left with a negative 2 minus square root of 2. because that 2 there was brought out over 2, so those cancel, and that ends up being my answer. Alright, so if you look at page 544, 81 to 84, again, you're still simplifying, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these tougher ones here. Let's do, well, 83 and 84, pretty much just use your calculator for those. But let's look at, let's look at 82c, cubed root of 16 x to the 8th, y to the 4th. Alright, so we're going to simplify 16. Are there two numbers that I can multiply together and take the square root of one of them? No, there's not. I mean, there's 8 times 2 and 4 times 4. But I could write this as 4 times 4 and take the square root, right? Except that index is a 3. So I've got to find a number multiplied by itself 3 times that gives me 16. And there isn't one. Okay? There's 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And there's 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. But there's no numbers I can multiply together that give me 16. So if I can't do that, I go to the next step. I see if I can simplify that. 16 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 to the 4th power. So I'm going to write it that way. So that I can't take the 4th root of 16, but I can rewrite it this way. And so that's what you have to do. You have to say, whoops, 3rd root. I'm sorry, why did I put 4th root? So the first step with all these numbers is find out if I can find two numbers multiplied together. If I can't take the root of this number, the cubed root of this number, then I try to find two numbers, or a number multiplied by itself 3 times to give me 16. Can't find anything there. The next step is simplify it. So just break it down into its prime factors, which is what I did here. I took 2 to the 4th power. That equals 16. So that's what you're going to do if you can't take the cubed root of that, is you factor it down. Because then all you have to do is go 3 goes into 4 one time. Make a little cubed root sign here. With how many left over? 1. So it goes into it one time with 1 left over. Now I go, how many times does 3 go into 8? 3 goes into 8 twice with 2 left over. 3 goes into 4 once with 1 left over. And you're done. So at that point, there's really not a whole lot of thinking involved. You just kind of do it. Alright, so that's one of the trickier ones, 82C. So hopefully that'll help you with the homework.